In the southern continent of Celts, the idle and peaceful port of Hamlet, an unearthly monster has broken the peace of these surroundings. According to legend, when the undead appeared in the world, they experience disaster and death. Citizens are scared and even hide every time the undead is invading their town. There are a lot of guards ready to defend their burrow and wanted to catch the undead to bring him to the city walls. Our story protagonist here is a cute, small, naive undead named Gray who tries to fit himself in a human world. At that moment, a purple cat spots Gray as he hides at the rear of the drum. When Gray turned back, the cat was yowling in terror, so Gray covered his mouth to prevent being caught. Gray is staring at the cat, and he recognizes it as a ghost that has possessed a cat. Don't be so surprised. There are many animals in this world that are possessed by ghosts. A skeleton frame like you strutting down the road is a real rarity. You're not out on the ground for the first time, are you? Said the cat, which causes Gray to be shocked by how the cat predicted it. The cat questioned why Gray was on the surface rather than remaining below ground in the abyss. Those who stay in the abyss must have a skill that will be valuable to them. Due to his vulnerability as a newborn undead, he allegedly feigned to be a skeleton specimen next to the powerful Lich Brutus in order to study magic. He never imagined that his plan would unintentionally work. For many years, the great sorcerer was unaware of his existence. However, one day, when a priceless magic item was going up for auction at the Abyss Gathering and the sorcerer wanted to attend, he came up with the idea to turn the specimen into a skeleton soldier to help him run errands. Gray didn't want to be a skeleton soldier, so he ran away and unintentionally knocked over the experimental equipment, making the Great Lich quite angry. While escaping, he stole a few treasures and fled to the ground out of fear after hearing the Great Lich threaten to teach him a lesson. After hearing it from Gray, the cat was frightened and lies that he needs to go and even tells Gray that they should pretend they never met because he was scared of the Great Lich. When he was about to leave, Gray pulled his tail, but the cat acted angrily because he don't want to be dragged. Gray wondered why he was targeted by a human when he did not interact with humans at all. You don't understand, you're an undead. Do you know what it means to be undead? The cat shouted. The undead is synonymous with calamity and death for humans, and according to the cat, people will hold the undead down as a source of disaster. Gray asked the cat why he's not been targeted by humans if he is also an undead creature. The cat explained that he possesses the perfect creature that combines good manners and elegance, so humans serve him well that even the girls use their chests to make pillows for him. According to him, he is the master of the human race. Gray feels sad as he doesn't understand what it means to be a perfect creature like the cat experienced. In the middle of their discussion, Gray saw someone coming from the gate. She's Iron Berbera, a lovely girl with white hair and blue eyes. Iron is a member of the royal family and she visited Port Hamlet. When she looks around, she thinks that this city is a bit strange because every house was closed. The guard of Port Hamlet apologizes and informed her that they are searching for the undead that has unfiltered the port. Iron was curious, but her guard interrupted her to say that they have some errands to do, so she decided to proceed with their destination. After seeing it, Gray wondered why those people were so respected, and the cat answered that they are knights, the embodiment of justice and light. The cat also explains that anytime a knight emerges, people will instinctively gather around them since they defend common people and offer peace and stability to people's lives. The cat advised him that he should go back to the underground because he has someplace there to hide, but Gray refused to do so, and he swore, "I, Gray the Lich, hereby swear that I will become a respectable knight." The cat was startled by what he heard, so he told Gray to repeat what he said, and Gray said the same thing. "You're a Lich who's afraid of humans, and you want to be a knight. Do not get me involved if you are sick in the head," the cat stated angrily. When sundown, Gray and the cat are still together. Gray showed the cat a suit of armor, but the cat warned him that it is impossible for him to become a knight, even if he steals the equipment from the armory. Gray displayed a book named The Knight's Guide to Success, and he believed that by using it, he might become a knight without much difficulty. The cat was annoyed at he suddenly bite the book and ordered Gray to put him down. The cat said that relying on books of this nature won't help one become a knight and will therefore be useless. As Gray questioned why, the cat yelled that a horse is necessary to be a knight. Gray understands everything, so he employed magic to summon an awakened one. Gray concentrated and called the horse Great Tanitos, despite the cat being oblivious to what he was trying to achieve. The skeleton horse has come to life and is making a lot of noise as he tries to comprehend things. The army is already coming, so they need to hide. Count Caspar, the Lord of Port Hamlet, was present at the same moment at his castle. Iron Berbera, the Duchess of Becher, is arriving. As soon as she entered the castle, his uncle Caspar greeted her and Iron did so in return. "My son is lucky to have a wife like you," Caspar stated, which makes Iron wonder what he means. Caspar invited Iron to mainly arrange a marriage with his son. Iron feels annoyed and she says it's impossible. Instead of talking about the marriage, Iron asked for some thoughts on how Caspar can help her inherit the title of the Becher family. Caspar doesn't want to help her, and he even includes Iron's brother in their conversation. Iron was mad because she believes his father never had a son. Enough, Iron. The king has declared him to be what he is, Caspar stated angrily, and he advised Iron that she should only keep her mother's property and give up her better name in order to marry his son, and that she shouldn't turn against it. According to Iron, Caspar swore to her father that he would continue to be devoted to her after her father passed away. And because of Caspar's attitude, she gets the handkerchief and throws it in front of Caspar to make a vow according to the age-old customs. In the city of Casfador, the guards are still searching for the undead, but Grey with the cat and horse is just hiding. The cat is annoyed and wanted Grey to let him go. "Aren't you going to help me become a knight?" Grey stated, since it is impossible for a Lich to be a knight. The cat furiously claimed that he never pledged to assist Grey in becoming a knight. Grey and the horse prepare a set of armor, and for Grey, it's not impossible for a Lich to become a knight because it's not mentioned in the book. The cat doesn't believe Grey and just wanted to possess another body, so Grey offered to turn him into an undead so he never feels tired after it. The cat was terrified and had no choice but to assist Grey in becoming a true knight. The guards had grown weary of searching for the undead and believed that the skeleton had already left town. While the guard was standing on the side, there was a knight and a horse walking through them. The cat, who is feeling uneasy, and instructs Grey to proceed straight ahead. The guard stops them only to let them know that the city is under a curfew due to the undead, so they should not roam around and hunt for a hotel to rest in, and the guards leave standing. Now that Grey and Tanitos have successfully disguised themselves in armor and utilized Grey's power to control it, Grey's next goal is to find a master who will turn him into a knight. The cat told him that they can't find a master because it was already dark and he should look during the day instead. Since this is Grey's first time as a knight, the cat told him that they'll go to the tavern where the knights were hanging out. In the middle of the night, Iron is thinking about what happened in the castle. The knight told him that she needs to rest as they have a duel tomorrow, but Iron keeps thinking and asked the knight Horus if her decision was too impulsive. Horus cannot figure out why Iron would agree to such a harsh condition, and Iron said that Caspar would only agree to such conditions. Horus was mad and informed Iron that they can escort her out of Port Hamlet. According to Iron, from the moment the king wanted to illegally seize the Becher family's territory, they had no choice but to ask Caspar's troops to support them. In addition, Horus stated that Caspar had ordered a turn-based conflict between their knights and Caspar's knights, and they only brought 20 knights, so there was no way they can win by fighting in numbers. Iron ordered to hire the people in a renowned mercenary group near Port Hamlet. They might succeed if they adopt effective strategies and leverage their advantages to attack their weaknesses. All you need to do is trust the Lord you have chosen, Iron said while she swore in the name of Becher. Going back to Grey and his two companions, they now arrive at the tavern. The cat told him to order a glass of wine and a fish because he was starving and needed to be fed. The attendant welcomed them after they had already entered. Some individuals were curious about him and wanted to include him in their gang, but their boss named Paz won't let them unless Grey can convince him of his value. Grey was thrilled for hearing the attendant calling him Mr. Knight. The cat asked if Grey have some money, but Grey answered that he only has one from the Great Lick's treasure house. The cat was disappointed after hearing it, so Grey suggests that they can get money in front of them by gambling. Grey really sat down at the table and has been winning a series of games in a row, so the cat advised him to lose a few games because people were gossiping about his consistently undefeated, and Grey wondered why. Suddenly, there's a man who challenges him to play a few games with him alone, and it should be 10 silver coins at a time. After hearing it, the cat told him to not accept the challenge to avoid big trouble with the people. Grey was hard-headed and did not listen to the cat because he was confident that he won't lose the game. After the gambling ends, Grey made a lot of money. In the world of liches and ghosts, the probability is foundational knowledge, so he thinks that those people were too mindless. The cat explained that in the human world, it's not good to win all the time, and the cat was right. When they're about to leave, those gamblers block them and they think that Grey is cheated, so they ordered Grey to leave all his earnings or he will be beaten by these men. "See, this is what happens when you cheat," the cat proclaimed. Grey is a different person now, and he believes Tanitos can help him with this fight. The cat doesn't trust Tanitos because he always feels like Tanitos will fall apart after 2 steps. "Don't worry, leave it to me and Tanitos," Grey stated. Some men were about to retreat because they noticed that Grey is a knight, but their boss ordered them to pull Grey onto his horse. There are several opponents in front of him holding different weapons. Grey and Tanitos prepared themselves to attack. With the help of Tanitos, he strongly kicks these men, causing them to spew blood. Tanitos jumped and hit the other men left one by one. They were thrilled to assault these people, and in the end, all of them were passed out. There is a crowd watching them, and they said that gamblers have met their match this time. Paz is also watching the fight and were puzzled by how Grey fights with the gamblers. The cat was astonished at this point because Grey is a skilled fighter and has covertly given Tanitos several layers of enhancing magic. The following day, word spread that the Lord of Casfador would be facing off against a well-known figure from another country. Paz informed him that there was a tournament and that someone had paid a lot of money to employ participants while Gray and Paz were both present. Paz thinks that with Gray's skills, he can win this kind of competition with ease. According to Paz, if a person is not a knight, they cannot compete in this type of tournament. Thus Iron gave them the temporary title of knight. Gray wondered why it had to be a short-term solution. He aspires to have the title of a true knight, the one with the seal. On that day, Caspar said to Iron that he was concerned about the reputation of the Becher family. Iron is talking to Caspar without calling him uncle, so Caspar said that she was rude, but Iron doesn't care as she only wants to win. And if it happens, she hopes that His Excellency the Count will also not go back on it. This tournament will consist of infantry and cavalry battles, and it will be fought in a turn-based format. Each side will send a knight to the battlefield, and the participant will be eliminated if he loses or surrenders. The winner must accept the challenge of the opposing knight. However, he will have the right to decide whether the next round will be a horse or foot battle. This will be repeated until all the knights on one side are eliminated and the winner is determined. If Count Caspar loses, he must swear allegiance to Lady Iron, and if Lady Iron loses, she must accept the engagement of the Count's son and be married at a later date. The battle is about to begin and the host welcomed the knights on each side. There is a lot of Count Caspar's guard knight while the attendant knights of Iron are only a few. People started to gossip and even bet that Iron will lose this battle. Caspar laughed after seeing the few knights of Iron, and for him, it was a sign of her stupidity. Iron hired mercenaries and they are all waiting outside the arena. The tournament begins and the fight is started. All these knights protect themselves with their shields while trying to use their lance against each opponent. In Game 1, Iron wins and Caspar loses 1. The Iron Knights maintained their lead in the second round and triumphed, handing Caspar yet another defeat. In the third round, Caspar wins and Iron loses 1. Since Iron's unit is currently outnumbered, she gave Horus the order to go gather the mercenaries. Horus asked if Iron intended to use the mercenaries to wear out Caspar's troops, and Iron replied that because their manpower is limited, they must be placed wisely to counter the Count's troops' superior strength. Outside the tournament, mercenaries have been called and Gray is also there. Horus told them that the match is of the utmost importance to House Becher, so they should help win the battle. Although they promised to try their best, mercenaries said they could not guarantee the outcome. Suddenly Gray is raising his hand and asks Horus to make him a knight. Hasn't the lady already granted you the title of a knight? Horus questioned. Gray insisted that he don't want a temporary title, he wanted to be a real knight with a seal. Horus was irritated because he believed Gray to be feeling ambitious. But Iron cut him off and told Gray that the title of the knight cannot be earned by merit and it cannot be awarded arbitrarily. Sir, if you can defeat 50 men for me in the tournament, I will give you the title of knight. Only if you can, Iron said. Gray and the cat were both surprised, and the cat even concludes that Iron is asking too much, so he told Gray to refuse, but unfortunately, Gray accepts the challenge. Well then, I'll be waiting to see you in action, Iron said and walk away with Horus. Gray was scolded by the cat for accepting Iron's offer, but Gray was overconfident that 50 people was a small number and that Tenitos could kick hundreds of them. To force Tenitos into the arena, Gray needs to defeat the knights in a foot war. Only the winner has the right to change the fighting method. Iron goes back to the tournament and Caspar didn't expect her to rely on the Red Scorpion mercenaries. No wonder the Becher family is on the decline, Caspar said, and Iron answered, you have to wait a little longer to find out if it's on the decline. Paz has been called to the ring and for him, it appears like the good days are over, so he needs to take the fight a little more seriously. Caspar was astounded to witness a skillful individual engaged in combat with his troop. Paz is engaging calmly with his sword, attacking Count's troop, and finally, he knocked down his opponent and the crowd was cheering and asks for another battle. Caspar wondered how Paz won 5 games in a row and his subordinate answered that Paz is the leader of the Red Scorpion mercenaries. Since Caspar started to be irate, he ordered his man to put his skilled troop to fight against Paz as a consequence of going against him. While the audience is cheering and predicting Paz's battles, Count is sending a new knight and all of the people were shocked because it's a giant troop in front of Paz. Iron and Horus were puzzled after seeing it. Buddy, let's have some fight, the giant stated with an evil look. Because of how big he is, Paz started to think to withdraw from the battle. Meanwhile, on Gray's side, he was trained by the cat on how to use the swords, but Gray can't even hold it, so the cat told him to give up. The battle of Paz versus Count's troops is about to begin. People gossip about the giant troop like a monster and even the crowd feels scared. It's the knight's duel between Count Caspar and Lady Iron's 12th match begin. The giant troop was very determined to hit Paz using his giant mace, and good thing that Paz was able to dodge it. He attacks using his sword, but his sword has been broken. The giant laughed at him and Paz started to rattle because he don't have any other weapon to use. The only thing he can do now is to dodge, but because of the strength of the giant troop, he was still hit and thrown to the corner with blood on his body. People were worried while Caspar is happy seeing Paz suffering in pain. This is what happens when you go against me, Caspar stated. Paz still manages to get up even though he feels like his ribs have been fractured. The giant troop was still in front of him and was about to hit him once more, but he began to have a serious look and jumped through the giant holding his broken sword and hitting the giant in the eyes. The giant is screaming in agony and can't see anything, and at this moment, Paz seizes the chance and runs towards the giant to stab him. The giant was very mad, but he cannot do anything, and at this point, he was knocked out by Paz. Since Paz spitting blood, Iron decided to replace him. On the other hand, Gray is busy making a weapon since he can't use a sword. The cat reminded him to hurry before the tournament will end. The fight between Iron and Count Caspar went on until midnight. By now, Iron had suffered heavy losses, with 4 executed, 7 seriously wounded, and several surrendered, leaving only 6 able to fight. Although Count Caspar's side was not as strong as Iron's side, they relied on their numbers to suppress the other party, and still had a total of 61 people left. Paz is on the roof watching the battle and thinking how brave Iron's knight is, but their chance is too little at this moment since they only have 6 troops left. While he was thinking, Horace called him and was annoyed because half of Paz's mercenaries surrendered after half of the fight. "We're paid to fight for you. We never said we'd sell our lives," Paz answered. Horace can't do anything but calm himself and asked for Gray, but Paz doesn't know where he is and he just answered that Gray must feed his cat. At this time, Count Caspar's team wins again and there are only 5 people left on Lady Iron's side. Horace decided to fight against Count's troops, and when he was about to walk in the middle, he heard a sound behind him. When he turned around, he saw a gigantic gate carried by Gray. People were shocked and doesn't have any idea what was going on. Gray continued to carry the gigantic gate and asked how many people were left on Count Caspar's side. Count Caspar and Lady Iron were both perplexed, and Iron trusts Gray this time. "Hey uncle, what about Count Caspar's side?" Gray asked Horace, so heroes informed him that Caspar has over 50 knights left, so he can now go and fight. Gray was happy and now ready to go straight to the ring with his gigantic gate, and when he put the gate in front of the opponent, it seems like it has a big explosion and the opponent flew away. Gary climbed up to the top of the gigantic gate and stands straight while saying, "I'm ready. Let's start the match." The opponent remained speechless and immediately kneeled to surrender in front of Gray. For the next match, Count's troops still surrendered and were afraid that they might be beaten left, right, and center. Because of Gray, all of Count Caspar's troops don't want to fight against him. Count Caspar interrupted and said, "How dare you demolish the gate of the Count's palace and use it as a weapon? What a shame, I won't tolerate this ever." That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Till next time.